Hey guys, welcome back. So glad you're here, and today we are doing video 3 of 4 for our patriotic wreaths for this Memorial Day weekend. And we're going to do some 21-inch jute mesh, those cute little stars, a variety of ribbons. We're going to start with this Fabri-Tac. I love using that when I'm doing fabric to attach stuff. These little stars I'm going to attach, but I want to go ahead and get them drying, so I've got the pipe cleaners bent and ready. I cut off some ribbon, and then I just cut it into little strips, and I'll use that like I used the duct tape when I'm putting on a sign, but this one I just wanted to use some fabric. Put the Fabri-Tac on, then I put the pipe cleaner, and then I put a little bit of hot glue, and then I put the little strip of fabric or ribbon, and I use my tool and get that put in there pretty securely. Then I'm counting out my pipe cleaners because we are going to do the chain method, and I count 21 of those. They are cut in half because the 21-inch mesh is a little bit thicker when you bundle it up. When using this natural jute or burlap or anything that's got fibers that just come off of it, please use a mask. You guys know I think when it's vapors or spray paint or things like that, mask does no good for you. But when it's actual little particles running around and you can see them, you're breathing them. So definitely wear a mask. So just start at the beginning and start in the middle, and then we'll go to the beginning later. So start at the beginning of your mesh and squish it all together. Measure it out 10 inches. And then just gather some more. See, it's really gather, it's not squishing, but that's just the word I use. So now just kind of walk your fingers down, gathering it all up. When we do this method with a 10-inch mesh, it's not as hard to get it all gathered up. But the 21, you do have to kind of walk your fingers down to get it gathered up. And then just add your pipe cleaner, and we're going to do 20 more times. If you go ahead and bend your pipe cleaners, it will make it easier when you grab them. But you just count your pipe cleaners. We've talked about that before. I always think everybody's seen every video, and that's not the case. So we're going to do 3 times around a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. And so we start and we make 6 poofs at each of the crossbars. So you need 7 pipe cleaners for 3 different rounds. So it's 21 pipe cleaners. And if you count out your pipe cleaners, then you don't have to keep count of your poofs, which when I first tried this method and did it, I tried counting my poofs and I just always lost count. And by the time you get 15 or 20 in the floor, it's not as easy to count them. We are coming up on my favorite part because we finished all of our poofs and now we're just going to drag them across. It's so satisfying to see all of those done. I wouldn't say my favorite part, but it is a very satisfying part, like all these poofs. And it only took a few minutes, so it really is a fast way to make a nice wreath. I turn my frame upside down and then just start adding my pipe cleaners. This first round on the first ring is at the crossbars. And then you just kind of cross it across the bar so it doesn't slide back and forth, which is only a problem for a minute because once they're all in there, they don't slide that much. Now we're going to get all the way around that first ring, and you'll see here we have our beginning. So I just take that one pipe cleaner and attach it at the same place there's already a pipe cleaner. And that's how we came up with 7 for each ring. So you can see I started here and went around. Now we're going to take the next poof and go from there to the middle ring, or the middle of the crossbars. It's the second ring. So you do the same exact thing, just twist it on. And this time I kind of twist it over to the middle crossbar, or middle ring. Crossbars, rings, it's all so confusing. If it is confusing, leave me a comment, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and if not, you can watch this video more, or you can watch other videos I have on the chain method. It's a poof, but I call it the chain method because we're chaining all those poofs together rather than measuring one out and attaching it at the same time we're measuring. So here we get right back to the beginning of that second ring, and then just attach that. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go from that center back to the crossbar. So on the third ring out, we just start doing the crossbars all the way around. And we're back to the beginning of the third ring. So we just finish that off, and we'll cut a couple 3 inches off, maybe, well, 3 or 4 inches, because I like to not go right up to the edge, so that way you can take that extra mesh that's left over and tuck it under. Here is another, sometimes you can tuck it into a poof, not as I do, just depends on how things work out. I cut these ribbons at 30 inches really well, just because I was going to do a fun bow in the bar in between. I showed you guys this bow on the usually on a 10-inch you have to really fix it, but this one was pretty good. The poofs looked really nice. I cut these at 30 inches, and I end up going back and showing you a different way to do it, because I ended up cutting off some of those. Some people will use that holder, some just hang it straight from the wire. There were just too many tails. Put it on there to get it on my easels. What I normally do is like decorate it. I measure out 10 inches and then gather it up, measure another 10 inches, gather it up, and make the loop. Put the two together, the gathers. And then I put it in the Bodabra. But that made so many tails, I went back and ended up cutting off tails. So I went ahead and did a little insert here to show you. If you cut it at like 21 inches, then you only make one tail and you don't have to cut the other one off. But we know that I'm cheap, so I did make use of those that I ended up cutting back off. Now here, I started the ribbon at 4 inches, but I gathered at 5. So I gave an inch of overlap there, and then I went 10 inches down, gathered it again, and here I'm just going to use a pipe cleaner. I'm not going to use my Bodabra because it's just 2 pieces I'm going to show you. But yeah, that way you have an inch to just grab it from, but then you have one tail at however many inches you want to cut it. If you cut it at 21 inches, it's a 10-inch tail and a 5-inch loop. If you cut it at 23, still make a 5-inch loop, but you're going to end up with a 12-inch tail. And that is the thing I love, love, love about this bow, is you can use all kinds of different ribbons and you can make it however you want. You can make the loops different sizes, you can make the tails different sizes, and it just ends up so, so cute. And it's really easy. So those who struggle with bows, this is a great alternative. Now back to our regularly scheduled video. This is the big bow. I go ahead and dovetail all of these. Put in the comments if you ever dovetail the wrong way and end up with a point. Sometimes I do that. And I'm like, oh, Dion. But I didn't do that this time. Now, I normally put bows at the top left, but this one I wanted to really try in the middle, so this little bow went all the way around everywhere. So the top left did not work for me, the top did not work for me, so I put it on the bottom, and I really ended up liking that. That's why you just kind of play around with things. But here you can see I'm cutting off all those extra tails, because it was just too many. But then I take those tails and overlap them and make a little tail to put in the wreath. And this wreath, I did this so different, because normally I would just do a whole bunch of little tails like that, but this one I did 2 tails, and then in another little section, I'm showing you here that I made 2 little loops with 2 little tails apiece, and then I put that in there. So yeah, mix it up, kind of change things up. You can't always do that, but this one really, I think it turned out really well being a little different. So you see here, I put the 2 little loops in, and then another section, I just made 1 ribbon and made some tails, made them go the same direction. Now I get to the fun part where I get to add those little stars. And I do have, the sale is still going on for 25% off everything. And I have these little stars on the website. They're so cute, little fabric stars. But they're 25% off as well. And I do have some of the mesh, that 21-inch mesh available as well. So check out the website at DIYDion.com. That's DIYDion.com. And the product or coupon code is 1234. So here's our finished product, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.